Now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. Joining us now, the head football coach at Corsicana, it's Phil Castles. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine.
Hey, tell us a little bit about your season. I know you had high hopes for the year, and then things kind of got derailed by some injuries. Talk a little bit about how things have gone up to this point.
Well, we've had a lot of injuries, and you know, one of the key ones is obviously to our quarterback. He was one of the very few returners we had, skill kid-wise, from last year, and great kid, and hard worker, and you know, he had high expectations for this year, individually as well as the team is concerned. And he got hurt in our third ball game, and is out for the season with an ACL. He's had surgery already, and he's in the middle of rehabbing right now. And we're hoping that he can come back his senior year and come back strong. But it's been a frustrating year as far as injuries are concerned, and it's one of those character building years that you don't like going through, but it's a part of life.
How much did that change what you had to do offensively when you lost him?
Well, it significantly. We've got a quarterback that stepped in, and he's played a limited amount of quarterback in the past, and actually was starting on defense for us at the beginning of the year, and we had to move him back over to full-time offense, and he's done a terrific job. His name's Zach Rash, and he's a hard-working kid and very unselfish, and done really good things. But you know, he's a different style of quarterback, and so we had to transform our offense a little bit to more his style of offense.
This was Devontae Bell, that was the quarterback that you lost?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so he's done for the year. There's no chance he's coming back for the playoffs or anything like that?
No, sir, no. It was ACL, and you know, he's, like I said, he just had surgery 2 weeks ago, and he's in the process of rehabbing that. Okay,
so you get off to the tough start. I think you started, 1-5 at one point? Have won 2 ball games in the district, and that's the great thing about district play, is that you can kind of erase the first half of the season and the non-district part of your schedule and start focusing your kids on the second season and giving them some hope, and they obviously have responded to that idea.
Well, they really haven't. You know, we played well in the first 5 games. You know, we lost some very close ball games, and you know, one where Devontae did go down. We managed to win that ball game, but we played good football off and on. But coming into the year, we knew we were going to be a young team, and you know, part of being young means that you're kind of up and down from week to week. You know, very inconsistent, and we were inconsistent not just week to week, but also from quarter to quarter, and it cost us some early games. But the kids have stayed the course, and they've worked hard, and it's nice, you know, when they do get some wins, especially if they're district wins.
So now you're 2-1 in district, and suddenly you go from a situation again where you're really struggling and the record looks bad, and I'm sure the fans are kind of grumbling, and as fans do, and now you're 2-1 in district, and you're sitting there talking about possibly being in second place, you know, possibly still battling for a district championship before it's all said and done.
Well, mathematically, there's always that chance, and you know, we can't control a whole lot of that stuff, but we can control how well we practice and our attitudes, and the kids have had good attitudes, and they've practiced hard all season long, and I've been very impressed with them as far as that's concerned.
Talk about some of the kids who have stepped up and really played well for you here in the last few ball games.
Well, you know, we've had a couple of linebackers that have really played well, and you know, one of them was a returner from last year. His name is Jacob Grayson, and he's played very, very well, and the other one is Cedric Weaver, who really didn't play much last year, and so it's kind of been a learning process for him, and he's really come on and played well. We've had a couple of kids offensively. Our offensive line has been very strong the whole year, and really a good unit and a good bunch of kids. And you know, we just had to rotate a bunch of different tailbacks in and out, and we've been tailback by committee, and it looks like we're going to stay that way.
Well, that seems to be working for you.
Well, they've like I said, they're very unselfish. You know, we don't have prima donnas, and of course some of that comes with not winning early.
Obviously, the tailback by committee has worked really well for you.
Yes, sir. You know, we've got a bunch of kids that do not mind sharing that limelight, and they're not prima donna type kids. They're very unselfish, and so we've got several of them. And you know, when one of them scores, the other ones celebrate with him, and it's been refreshing as far as that's concerned to have so many kids that are willing to play whatever role they need to.
Now you're coming off of a big and impressive win over Lindale in this past ball game, and you beat them 40-22. Talk a little bit about that ball game and what you did in that game.
Well, Lindell's kind of like us. They've been injured a lot this season, and it was nice for us the fact that we could come out and have such a quick start. We kicked to the end and recovered the opening kickoff, caused a fumble and recovered it, and then scored the very next play on a long run, and then we returned a kickoff for a touchdown in the second half. So it just we catapulted into the driver's seat early in that game, and never looked back. And that's the first time this year that we've been able to get a quick start like that.
And Donovan Fields had a huge ball game. He had over 278 yards, I think, all-purpose, 178 rushing. He had the kickoff return you're talking about. Talk about his play in that ball game.
Well, he played extremely well, and Donovan's played really well all season, but I believe this is his first complete game. He really did a good job. He played some defense for us as well. And so he doesn't come off the field much, special teams, offense, and defense. And Donovan's an unselfish kid and a good kid. And it was nice to see him have such a big game. And it's also good to see how the team responded. Anytime you have a well-liked kid that does really good early, then it kind of sparks your football team. And I felt like the sidelines really responded to his touchdowns, his long run there at the very beginning, the first play from scrimmage, and the long kickoff return.
Okay, so now you have this showdown at White House. They're undefeated, but if you win the ball game, it could move you into second place in the district right now. Talk a little bit about what you think of the White House football team so far.
Well, White House is always well coached, and they do a great job. They've got they do a super job of developing quarterbacks. Every year they've got good quarterbacks that put up great stats, and their quarterback right now is one of the best in the state. Got a great release as far as getting rid of the ball quickly and being on target. And he's got some very quality receivers, obviously, to throw it to. And so offensively, they do a good job of doing what they've always done, and that's running the spread game and having a good quarterback, somebody who makes good decisions and throws the ball well. And several kids that can catch it. They don't drop balls, and they run good routes, and they read right, and you can tell that they're well coached and practiced. Defensively, they're probably stronger than I've seen them in a couple of years. I mean, they're very good defensively. They're sound. They're sound at each position. It's not like they have a weakness, and they're just playing good, solid football. And there's a lot to be said for doing things right, and White House definitely does things right.
I will tell you, I went to see Coach McFarland Monday morning, and he says, that doggone Phil Castles, he says, I counted 60 different formations he ran against Lindale the other night. But you only threw the football 2 times in the ball game. Is that kind of the M.O. for you guys?
I would love that to be the M.O. If we could run it every play, we would. But, we're probably just the opposite. I think Coach McFarland, he'd like to throw it every play if he could. So it's just 2 different deals. And of course, we went to church together back when I was at Chapel Hill, and so boy, he's a great man and a good coach, and it's always fun to go and play White House.
I have to ask you about this, though. It seems like your style of play is the perfect antidote for what White House does. I mean, you want to control the ball, you want to control the clock, and keep that offense off the field, and that kind of seems like it's headed for the perfect storm this weekend.
Well, we'll try to do that. You're right, but so far, some other people have tried. Lindale tried to do that, and it's just hard to keep up with that offense that White House has. And as soon as they get rolling, it's just, if you're trying to come from behind on them, it's very difficult. Their old defense is really good at stopping the run and really sound. So, but you're right. Yeah, philosophy-wise, it ought to be a good battle. Philosophy-wise.
Well, and when it's all said and done, I guess what you're saying then is the key to the victory is you need to get the lead early and not have to play from behind the whole ball game.
Well, that's always a big key for us. Just because of the style of offense that we have right now, and what we feel like our kids can do well. Like I said, our strength. We feel like our offensive line's a very good unit and do a good job, and we feel like that's our strength right now. And so, we've got to be able to use those strengths as best we can, and then get better at the things that we feel like are weaknesses, and hopefully continue to improve.
One last thing I'll ask you, because you spent some years over at Chapel Hill and all. Are you keeping up with what goes on over there with your old school? Oh yeah, I know all those folks over there, and they're good people, and really enjoyed it when we were there, and it was a fun place to be, and it kind of got to be there when it all turned around for Chapel Hill, and that's always exciting and fun. So yeah,
I'm always keeping up with them. Was super excited last year for everybody when they won the whole thing, and those are good people there.
Do you like being back in this part of East Texas for a district?
I really do for several reasons. I grew up there in Kilgore with Coach James Cameron was my coach, and so obviously that's kind of home for me. And as soon as I get back in the pine trees, I just start feeling a little better. But and a couple other reasons. My father comes to all the games, and our road games in district are closer to the house for him than our home games. So he's always excited when we're on the road.
Well, it's great having you back in this area where we can talk to you on a regular basis and keep up with your football team a little bit closer. I mean, I know that you've played a lot of these schools here in non-district ever since you've been at Corsicana, but it's fun having you in games that count back here in East Texas. So we're really looking forward to seeing you guys play Friday night. It ought to be a heck of a football game, Coach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks very much for coming on with us. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, Phil Castles from Corsicana on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.